Good morning, everybody. Lake Station Community Advocate and Educator here, back again. This is going to be a fun one. But if you don't know, go check out Lake Station Strong Towns Collective on Facebook, Lake Station Strong Local Conversation on Facebook, Lake Station Strong Towns Advocate and Educator on YouTube, which I'm going to be trying to be transferring over to do a lot more of that on YouTube. And this specifically, we're going to be talking about something, and it's, people are being tricked, and thank goodness God's given me this ability to find and to call out this crap, because I'm so sick and tired of seeing our so-called leadership trick people into things, and it doesn't benefit those residents. It only benefits that group. So I want to touch on the article that was created, and we all know it was from the Times. It was such a repetitive, cyclic excuse of a bad. It was horribly written, but we will go through that. So for those of you who don't know, our administration in town is struggling. They're straining, they're struggling, and in one sense, it's kind of like, well, you're the ones who put yourselves there, and then the other thing is it's not a good thing, because look what it's done to our community. And remember, they can pass blame on residents, they can pass blame on previous administrations, and they can blame it on every excuse they want, but really it really is up to them. And we know this because watching between our presidents and the current president, and what the previous president did and what the current president's doing, so we know that things could be changed. It's just a matter of up to the leadership and when and how. So yeah, let me go through this. Now, in this article, which gave me a complete headache to read, because it was just so horribly repetitive, and the only time that anybody wants you to be repetitive is when they're trying to get you to believe a lie, or they're trying to convince you to believe what they're doing is right, or whatever the case is. But I just want you to think a little bit more critically about what you're reading and what you're seeing, because far too often people in our community have been going, yay, things are going great, when the rest of us down here on earth are going, what are you eating? So I kind of wanted to go through, but you're more welcome to pause and read this. But I'm going to kind of go through some of the pictures. I want you to pause and read them. This is the article. And if it gets confusing, it's because it is. I have no idea where to begin and where to start, and where to end with this, because it's so horribly written. It's almost done on purpose. Please feel free to read these. Like I said, pause between them and read them, but I'm going to go through some of the key points in this, and it's probably going to piss off a lot of people, but I'm not here to piss people off. I'm here to get you to think differently and critically. And another one. And another one. Another one. Another one. And the final one. But now, since we've got that out of the way, I hope you came prepared, listening ears, pencil and paper, and you're ready to learn. And I want you to understand that we need to demand some accountability out of our leadership, because obviously, for far too long, and unfortunately, with this administration, it has been the worst that we've seen in the past 20 years. Some people have said even in the past 40 to 50 years that this is the worst administration. And everybody's like, well, they voted for him. Yeah, there's a lot of elements to that, and I think I've been through that in other videos, and I may do another new video on how they continue to do that. But right now, I wanted to touch on a lot of the key points that I noticed that were going on within this article. First, it mentioned that they were deeply committed. Okay? Now, deeply committed that we've seen, you pretty much, they bully the residents into submission. They trick, they lie, they bully them into submission. We all know it. We all seen it. We've seen it and experienced it. There's just no getting out of it. The other thing is it mentioned the quality of life for all. The streets are neglected. The playgrounds are neglected. The finances are skewed both in the schools and in the city. And yes, the State Board of Account audit reports are factual. Those are factual documentation on what the city entities and what the schools have to turn into the state. Those are factual. And they mentioned collaboration. Now, their collaboration, as we all know it in our town, has been, well, you do it their way or no way. And basically, what they mean by collaboration is you're talking to a grocery store chain into buying a property that's only worth half of what they actually paid for it. Not to mention that grocery store chain's going to have to either knock it down and rebuild or spend tons of money inside that store to get it correctly and up to State Department of Health's requirements and other codes and ordinances. And it's going to take years, before that grocery store chain can actually start to actually make a profit. Because if you spend $1 million remodeling and revamping a building, it's going to take a long time to recoup that money. A very long time. And here's what happens. Oh, well, they own a couple chains. Yeah, but then they have funds that they're pulling from other stores to help make up for that. And that's a hard thing to do, and it really isn't good. But it's going to take years for any sort of that money to come to fruition. So I really love where they mention targeted investments. They're targeting investments, kind of like the same way that they've been targeting residents with their code enforcement violations. And with these targeted investments, I've mentioned in a lot of my other videos that the way that things are being invested is a really horrible way, because they're supposedly investing so much. We haven't seen any of that, the outcomes have only been negative. So let me touch on this, because it's going to be a multi-part series on this, because it is just horrible. But targeted investments, basically we're going to make some developments. We're going to do some road paving, like we're doing, make it look like we're doing something, basically. Like this is what we're going to do. We're going to make it look good. Yee-haw, vote for us. However, these so-called investments, or these so-called targeted investments, come at the price at the taxpayers. And normally these targeted investments come with a 20, 30 to almost a 40-year-long debt. And people go, no, it ain't. No, it ain't. Yes, it does. Do your research. It will bury you and burden us for the next 20, 30 to even 40 years. So even our grandkids are not going to be able to really be out of our debt. And I really love where they mentioned some critical projects in this article. This article is kind of hilarious. But they threw a hissy fit when I asked about the streets and why the streets were being neglected and where the street sweeper was. And first I got told we didn't own one in town. And then we got told, well, yeah, we got one, but it's broke down. And then most residents had no idea that we even had a street sweeper. So critical projects, I mean, first off, I really love the usage of where it's critical. We desperately, it's very important. No, it's not. It's a road. Let's face it, it's a roadway. And unfortunately, roads can be done improperly. And when roads are done improperly, and that doesn't mean like being repaved. Repaving doesn't do anything. That's like throwing paint on a fence and you're just putting more paint on top of it. It's doing nothing. It's like putting mulch on a playground and throwing more mulch on a playground to make it look like you did something great. You're not doing anything great. All you're doing is repaving a road that needed it for the past 30 years. So anyway, that being said, I'm the Lake Station Community Advocate and Educator here. I want you to do a little bit of thought, critical thinking. If you haven't read this article, you probably should. It's going to be a multi-part up on this because it is horrible. It gave me a headache just trying to read it, and it just seems like they repeated the same things over and over and over. And I'm going to go through some more. I'm going to pick up where I left off with critical projects. I'm the Lake Station Community Advocate and Educator. So do a little homework. Chew on this stuff that I've told you and shown you. Use some critical thinking. And on your bus ride home, just remember that I'm on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Lake Station Strong Towns Collective, Lake Station Strong Local Conversations on Facebook. And I'll see you in a moment.